We talked to a ton of people moving to the Oregon coast, and a lot of people want to know how far their money is going to stretch. Well, in this video, we're going to look at the 9 most expensive towns on the Oregon coast. All that starts right now. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Clem with the Home Team Brokers coming to you from the Oregon coast. If this is your first time to the channel living on the Oregon coast, make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the little bell to get notified every time we drop a new video. We talk to people all the time who are relocating to the Oregon coast, moving here, buying a second home or vacation home, and we love to help with that process. So if that's you, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, or click the link down below in the description of the video and schedule a Zoom call with us. Either way, we would love to help with your move to the Oregon coast. All right, so you're making a move, you have your eye on the Oregon coast, maybe you're looking at different towns, thinking about the style of property and what type of environment you want to be in. The Oregon coast is a beautiful place, and you can be in the trees, you can be near a river, near a lake, of course, near the ocean, near the beach, and anything in between. So there's a lot of options. There's a lot of different towns that present, different opportunities for different types of lifestyle and just kind of overall surroundings as far as the scenery, the size of town, the amenities, etc. In this video, we're going to look at the most expensive areas. And these are areas that we, either will suggest to people based on what they're looking for, or we can say, we can take a look at somebody's budget. We can say, hey, look, these are towns that maybe you don't want to be looking in based on, the price per square foot or based on how expensive this particular area is. But these are areas that are very desirable, in high demand, and very popular for both tourism and for people to move to and relocate to full time. So if we're looking at these towns, we can talk about areas that are, 10, 15 miles north, 10, 15 miles south. So you can be in the region, you can be in the vicinity, and you can visit these areas and spend a lot of time in these areas without actually having to necessarily buy a house in these more expensive towns. So, all right, let's get into it. Let's get started. Number 9 on the list is Manzanita, coming in at $725,000 median sale price. Now, Manzanita has long been one of the more popular towns on the Oregon coast for people to do weekend trips, go vacation. It's very quiet, very laid back, very peaceful. There's only a few hundred people that live there. It's only about an hour and 15, maybe an hour and 30 minutes drive from Portland. So this draws in a lot of people from the Portland area and from Western Oregon. It's very quintessential beach town. So you have maybe about 10 blocks that extend from the beach. You have one main strip, one main drag in Manzanita with some shops and restaurants, not too many. There is a little bit of upscale dining, but it's not too fancy. It's not necessarily a place that has kind of a luxury feel, but it does feel like a resort town. I mean, there's a spa, there's a golf course, there's a lot of things that you can do in terms of outdoor activities. You can get out and hike, you can paddleboard, kayak, horseback ride, and the homes there are pretty unassuming. There's not a ton of huge, enormous, luxury type real estate there, but one part of town, if you go north, does extend up on a hill a little bit. So a lot of these homes can have sweeping ocean views, or at the very least little peekaboo views. So Manzanita, a very popular town, coming in at $725,000 median sale price. All right, next on the list, coming in at number 8 is Bandon. Bandon has a median sale price of $770,000. Bandon is a little bit of a bigger town than Manzanita, so there's more full-time residents there. There's also a lot of seasonal residents as well. So a lot of people work at the Bandon Dunes Golf Resort that employs hundreds of people, but on a little bit more of a seasonal basis. There's caddies and groundskeepers and people that work at the resort, and then you do get a lot of people going there on vacation, not just for golf, but because it is a beautiful, great, little beach town. The downtown area has a lot of great restaurants. Again, there is a little bit of some of that upscale dining, and then there's, some bars and restaurants and shopping and things like that. So Bandon is much further south of Portland. So we're looking at kind of the northern end of the southern Oregon coast, which is much more rural, much more spread out, not as densely populated. But you have this cliffside in Bandon, in particular on the south side of town, where you have a ton of homes that are overlooking the beach and some really cool rock formations. The beach and just kind of the geology and the scenery down here on the southern Oregon coast tends to be a little more dramatic, a little more scenic than some areas on the northern Oregon coast. So I think overall, some of the best views that you can get as far as houses go exist in Bandon, and that's definitely reflected in the median sale price. All right, next on the list is Yachats, coming in at $785,000 median list price. There's actually hasn't been enough transaction data to calculate the median sale price in the last 30 days, but median list price, $785,000. Yachats is definitely the most unique town on the Oregon coast. You're just about 8 miles south of Waldport, so about 25, maybe 20 miles south of Newport, and then about 45 miles north of Florence. But it's just a very quaint little small town, and you do get some variety as far as homes go. You do have some homes that are set just blocks from the beach, and then you have some homes that are set up above town with some elevation that have great views. It's really just a stretch of Highway 101 that goes through town, kind of the main street, and there's some really cool little coffee shops, awesome brewery there, some great restaurants, and this is definitely a very small town. So Yachats tends to be a place that a lot of people ask about but don't know too much about because it is a little bit isolated, because it is so small. But you look at pictures, you start to look on a map, it's so scenic, and all of those elements are definitely reflected in the median sale price as far as real estate goes. So you're looking at the 7th most expensive town on the Oregon coast, Yachats. Still a little bit of a hidden gem. Definitely a great area to spend your time. All right, coming in at number 6 on the list is Cannon Beach. Median sale price, $800,000. You've probably heard of Cannon Beach. You've probably, seen pictures of Haystack Rock, or if you've been to the Oregon coast, chances are you've spent some time in Cannon Beach. This is an area that is just about due west of Portland. So just like Manzanita gets a ton of traffic from Portland, the metro area, and from Western Oregon. I think looking at Cannon Beach, you see not a ton of enormous homes, not a ton of luxury real estate, although that certainly does exist, and that's something that can prop up the median sale price. But I think on a price per square foot basis as well, you could be looking at a 1,200 square foot, 2 or 3 bedroom, kind of more beach cottage, and that could be $650, $750, $800,000 depending on the condition, proximity to the beach. But everything in Cannon Beach really is close to the ocean. You're looking at a few blocks on the east side of the highway, and then a few blocks on the west side of the highway. So anywhere you would be in Cannon Beach, you can walk to the beach, or you can drive to a few different beaches. You also have like Oswald West State Park, and some great areas to go hike and get out and explore. But I think the biggest attraction to Cannon Beach is the downtown itself. So the volume, the quantity of shops and restaurants and bars and really fine dining, some of the best restaurants you can find on the Oregon coast, it's unrivaled to Cannon Beach. So definitely a little bit more of an upscale feel, but not incredibly luxurious necessarily, but all of those elements, and for all of the reasons that people love Cannon Beach, that's why you see a median sale price of $800,000. All right, number 5 on the list is Gearhart. So Gearhart is a community just north of Seaside, really attached to Seaside, but it's much more of a resort community. I think you see a much higher percentage or volume of second homes, vacation home rentals, that sort of thing. The median sale price is $815,000. You do get, I think, on average, homes that are a little bit bigger. So you don't have as many of, the small, 1,000 to 1,500 square foot cottages. You do have homes that are a little bit bigger, so that is reflected in the sale price. A lot of these homes are very nice, very well kept over the years, and you do get some really cool historic, 100-year-old homes that have a ton of character and are very unique. Gearhart is right on the ocean. Pretty much anywhere in Gearhart you can walk to the beach. There is a little bit more space between, kind of the usable beach and where some of the houses are. So you might end up driving, but like driving, 3 or 4 minutes, it just might be a little more convenient. And then right in the middle of Gearhart, you have the McMinimans Hotel, which has an 18-hole link-style golf course, really popular place to golf. I think it's the oldest link-style golf course west of the Mississippi. The hotel there has a couple of different pubs and restaurants in it. There's a big back deck, so you can kind of overlook the golf course and overlook some of the houses there. It has a really nice private feel to it. Again, most people there at any given time are probably there on vacation, so it definitely has that feel compared to some other towns where you have more of a mix of locals in the area as well. Being in Gearhart, you also have very close proximity to Astoria to the north, Seaside, again, connected just to the south, and then even Cannon Beach, 15-minute drive to the south as well. So a lot of the more popular areas on the Oregon coast are right there around Gearhart, making it a very popular area. And one of the reasons why it is so high on this list for most expensive towns on the Oregon coast. All right, next on the list is Pacific City, coming in at $860,000. And Pacific City really has a good mix of, kind of smaller homes and really some relative affordability to some extent, but there's a lot of development going on, in particular as you get up the hill and into some elevation, and you have some of the best views on the Oregon coast, overlooking the ocean and overlooking the Neskowin Bay. So you have kind of a really unique, diverse layout as far as the landscape and what you can see, and these houses that are being developed and some of the houses that have these views in Pacific City, they're definitely larger than average and generally a little bit bigger on average as far as square footage, so 2,500 up to 3,500, 4,000 square feet. So your price per square foot might not be that bad in Pacific City, but driving through these areas, you can see why the median sale price is so high relative to other towns on the Oregon coast. These are definitely meant for, to be a little more upscale, to have a little more upscale feel. And again, you have some of the best view on the Oregon coast. The town of Pacific City itself is really small. I mean, there are some shops, some wine tasting, some restaurants, and most notably Pelican Brewing, the original brew pub, is in Pacific City, and it's right on the beach. You can sit out on the back deck. You're right on the, you're right on the ocean. You're right on the beach. And Pelican Brewing is definitely one of the more popular attractions on all of the Oregon coast. That location in Pacific City, but also there's one in Cannon Beach. There's a new one in Lincoln City. There's a tap room in Tillamook. So a really popular attraction. So I think that mix of what Pacific City offers is, why it is so high on this list. You're located at kind of the southern end of the northern coast and the top end of the central Oregon coast. So you're just a little bit north of Neskowin, and then you're about maybe 30 miles south of Tillamook. So the access is still pretty good, relative to where most people live in Oregon. You're probably looking at closer to 2 hours for a drive, maybe an hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour and a half if you're really pushing it. So it's a little bit further, but still just as accessible in a lot of ways as some of these other towns we've talked about, like Cannon Beach, Manzanita, Gearhart, for example. All right, next on the list, and one of my favorite places on all of the Oregon coast, is Oceanside. Definitely a hidden gem, definitely off the beaten path, but still close and accessible. You're looking at a median sale price of $865,000. There's only a few hundred people that live here. And you are due west of Tillamook. So Tillamook itself, a more populated area on the northern Oregon coast. You're on the Tillamook Bay, so you're a little bit inland. It's a little bit more of a farming and agriculture and dairy farming in particular community. And so it doesn't have that beach town feel as much, but if you go due west, you're going to hit Yachats, which actually Yachats has a median sale price of $460,000. I think because you do have some properties that are still a little bit more inland, so you can't like walk to the beach, for example. But if you're in Yachats, you're basically right there into Oceanside, and then you get up, I believe it's Cape Mears, into Oceanside, and there's just a big open public beach, and then back up behind the main road, you have houses all up on this cliffside. And so pretty much anywhere you would live in Oceanside, you have great views. From what I've seen, the price per square foot is really high in this area. So 1,000 square feet, 1,500 square feet, that example that we've been talking about, a property like that, even if it needs a little bit of work, is going to be at least $600, maybe $700,000. And then of course you're going to see homes that are $1 million, $2 million, that are larger and in better condition. So this is an area that, I think a lot of people in the Portland area know about. It's an easy day trip, still about that 90 minutes to 2-hour drive. But people who are coming from out of state, out of the area, probably haven't had as much exposure to Oceanside because it is off the beaten path a little bit, and it is a little bit more of a hidden gem. But this is an area that I always point people to, depending on what they're looking for, because of those elements, because it is a lot more private, and you do get some of the best views on the Oregon coast. It's small, it's quaint, it's quiet. It has a lot of the elements that a lot of people are looking for. All right, second on the list is Neskowin, coming in at $975,000 median sale price. A little surprising, honestly. Neskowin is very similar to Pacific City in where it is geographically and the size and a lot of what's offered. So it is off of the highway, off of 101. So it has some of the same elements as like Cannon Beach, Manzanita, and Pacific City. So it has a little bit of more of kind of that laid back feel. It definitely feels like a second home first type area, more of a resort style community. You do get some of that elevation up above town as well, with big sweeping views, newer construction, really nice homes, a lot of homes that are up around $1 million and more. So I think there's a lot of similarity with Pacific City. The median sale price right now just does skew a little bit higher, about $100,000 higher on average. Neskowin is going to be just as accessible as some of these other areas like Pacific City. You're just south of Pacific City, and then you're north of Lincoln City. So if you like Lincoln City and you want to be near a bigger town, a town with closer to like 10,000 people that has a lot of grocery stores and kind of more of, a hospital, more services and amenities and things like that, but you want to be in more of a smaller kind of resort style community, Neskowin would be a good place to end up. All right, last and finally on this list is Arch Cape, coming in at $1.8 million median sale price. Arch Cape is another area that probably flies under the radar a little bit unless you are in Oregon or from Oregon and you've been there and spent some time there. It seems like every house in Arch Cape is pristine. You get big houses. You do have some houses that are right along the beach, and then up above on the east side of the street, and Arch Cape is really just one street. So you're off 101, you set down a little bit onto kind of one main drag. There's no shops, there's no restaurants. I think there's a little post office, but it really is private, quiet, laid back. You're not going to get a ton of public traffic through there necessarily, aside from the people who are staying there or who live there. So that's a big difference compared to areas like Cannon Beach, especially where a ton of people drive in for the day. There's going to be a lot of people walking around. It's going to be shoulder to shoulder, some parts of the year. In Arch Cape, you don't have that congestion at all. As I was saying, up on the east side of the street, there's a slight elevation change, so you do get some views through there as well, a little more sweeping views of the horizon, of the beach, of the ocean. There's probably only a couple hundred homes, if that, in Arch Cape, but it's a very popular area because you're just south of Cannon Beach. So you do get to have the benefit of everything that Cannon Beach has to offer, as well as the other towns along the northern Oregon coast that are very popular. But you have this community, which in some ways reminds me of Oceanside as far as the relative size and what's actually there. But it's much more kind of drawn out, elongated, north to south, up and down the coastline, whereas Oceanside kind of curves up the hill a little bit, has a little bit more of a unique kind of geological formation, where Arch Cape is just kind of this long street with some really nice houses on it. And honestly, it's no surprise that the median sale price there is $1.8 million. So maybe these are towns that you're interested in. Maybe learning about the median sale price is a deterrent. Maybe it doesn't matter. Either way, if you are thinking about moving to the Oregon coast, if these areas or any other areas are interesting to you or places that you want to talk about and learn more about, make sure to give us a call, send us a text, or shoot us an email, or click the link down below in the description of the video and schedule a Zoom call with us. Either way, we would love to help with your move to the Oregon coast. And if this video is helpful, make sure to hit the like button, make sure to subscribe to the channel to get updates, and hit the little bell to get notified every time we drop a new video. Appreciate you watching, and until next time, we'll talk to you later.